We have another busy week full of planetary transits. In this week's astrology, Mercury transits into Aquarius, aiding us in thinking beyond the basic. On top of that, an Aquarius new moon will occur on Friday, giving us the urge to try new things that will help us make progress. Jupiter and Saturn will align in a configuration that promotes focusing our minds on the right opportunities, and it's a busy week for Mercury and Venus alignments, causing us to work on our social lives and romantic scenarios. With this interesting week we have ahead of us, the vibes on the graph are absolutely reflective. From the 5th to the 8th, we'll have a smidge of mental energy, intersecting psychic vibes, imagination and confusion, and romantic energy. Because the tones in the air are more concentrated than typical, especially around the 5th, we're going to have a plethora of moods concerning our love lives. Also, there may be some times where we're questioning our intuition because one moment we may feel like we're getting accurate intuitive hits, and the next we may feel a little muddled from the energy. These vibes will continue until the 8th and then connect with more mental vibes, emotional sensitivity, and solitude. And this is because by midweek, we could feel like we're more in our heads and need some space to ourselves due to feeling overly analytical about things. Then, over the weekend, from the 9th to the 11th, mental vibes will be the only present tone. And with that, there's some Mercury stuff that's going on over the weekend, so it could create moments where we're focused on the things that we need to resolve in our lives. So yeah, we're in for another colorful week. Let's look at these next bunch of days and see what we can expect. As a reminder, don't forget to like and subscribe because it helps this channel grow. And if you'd like to support the work of this channel, you could do so by buying me a fresh cup of coffee. There's a link in the description box below. Monday opens up with Mercury transiting into Aquarius. As we shift out of the narrowing things down and thinking responsibly approach of Capricorn, we shift to a more detached and innovative method of cognition. We're about to head into some serious Aquarius energy. Mercury's here now and Venus will soon follow. Then Mars will be here, so we're going to have an Aquarius stellium really soon. And each of these planets are going to conjunct Pluto, which has just shifted into Aquarius. So all of this is truly going to activate some Pluto and Aquarius themes in our lives, especially with the one that's coming from Mars. But of course, once that alignment happens, I will talk about that one. For now, Mercury is the first runner-up, so this focus is going to be about cognition and the way we socialize. Mercury in Aquarius aids us in thinking differently. In other words, it helps us think in a more unconventional way and intellectualize the way we view the universe. And what this does is it helps us make more progress when it comes down to our cognition, when it comes down to the way we socialize, when it comes down to the way we analyze things. So an energy like this helps us take on an innovative methodology to our lives overall. So this could be a period where we're finding creative solutions to our problems rather than doing things the standard way. The great thing about this energy is it helps us deviate from the norm so we can tackle things from a different angle. That way we can come up with answers to long-standing problems that need a new solution. So an energy like this is excellent for aiding in if you've been in a standstill for a while, especially mentally or on something problematic or something that was complex to solve. This could really help you break out of a mental rut and have a breakthrough moment, have a eureka moment about something that seemed to stall out. So this can really give the push needed to see some progress finally. And the cool thing is we're more open to this type of stuff than typical. Aquarius energy encourages us to break out of our comfort zones. It encourages us to concentrate on advancement, especially from the things that have outworn its usefulness. So this may be a period where you start realizing it's time to break out of your comfort zone. And of course, this doesn't have to be extreme. It could be all about improving your routine, trying a different cut of steak rather than going to your usual, or even trying a new coffee spot rather than the one that you always frequent. And more so, just to be open to new things and shake things up in your life. Another way you may be looking to break out of your comfort zone is through stimulation. Mercury shows how we like to be mentally stimulated, and Aquarius has a lot to do with our mind, our higher mind. So this may be a period where you get a considerable boost from doing brainy things or trying out innovative gadgets. And by that, Aquarius energy promotes connecting with the side of us that enjoys technology. So it may be a period where you're gaining mental stimulation through something new and innovative in terms of gizmos and doodads. It could also be a time to absorb topics like science, computer programming, mathematics, astronomy, and of course astrology, because Aquarius energy is synonymous with astrological stuff. Another way this energy can show up is by taking a more objective perspective on life. In other words, we may end up forming a detached viewpoint on certain topics. As a result, we can evaluate circumstances from various perspectives without allowing our emotions to get involved. Don't get me wrong, we need our emotions, we absolutely do. At the same time, sometimes we need to be neutral. There are some decisions that we need to make where we have to take our emotions out of the equation. And so this Aquarius situation, this Mercury and Aquarius pairing, and especially with all the planets that are about to head for Aquarius, we could feel more detached than typical, allowing us to take a more intellectualized approach to things that really require us to be cerebral. Socially, we're really going to crave being with people on the same wavelength, because another way we get a nice mental buzz from this energy when it's paired with Aquarius is through socializing, is through interacting with people who are like-minded. So this could be a period of really connecting with our friends, reconnecting with old ones we might have lost touch with, and also gaining new associations through this energy. This is one of those vibes if you wanted to join some sort of group or organization or network, this might be a time where you actually take action on it. And that's because a vibe like this really promotes membership to a community. So it could really be a phase to focus on those things in your life. Of course, there's a lower expression, as there is anytime a planet changes signs, and this is no different. With the lower expression, coming back to not really putting your emotions into things, this could be a period where we feel more disconnected than normal and in a way disassociated from our emotions. We could also come off as more aloof than typical when it comes down to our relationships. And this is due to the high levels of detachment when it comes down to this energy. It's very easy to become cerebral. It's very easy to not be in our bodies. It's very easy to not be in our emotions within an energy like this. So we may be thinking with our heads rather than our hearts. And also because of that type of energy, we need to be aware of alienating ourselves from other people. In other words, there could be moments where we find ourselves pulling away from people because either we're feeling too overwhelmed by other people's emotions, in other words, feeling like others are being too needy, or we're feeling like an outsider, and so we end up pushing people away because we don't feel like we fit into the equation. Another thing to be aware of in this energy is groupthink. Even though Aquarius is known for being an independent sign, on the lower vibration there can be a loss of identity within the group. And so hive mind mentality tends to be more prominent in a vibe like this. But yeah, we're in for some serious Aquarius energy over the next bunch of weeks. At least it'll be anything but boring. Over the next 48 hours, we have some interesting alignments with the Sun, Venus, Uranus, and Chiron. The Sun and Venus are going to connect to the same planets while connecting to one another. And the interesting thing about this is the Sun and Venus will switch off in a sense where one planet is making a harmonious alignment while the other one is making an unconstructive one. And then the other one is going to make a harmonious alignment and the other one's going to make an unconstructive one. So through this, we'll have a Venus and Chiron square, which could drudge up uncomfortable memories about situations that happened in the past that were problematic in our love lives. And by drudge up, I mean we may be dwelling on uncomfortable memories when it comes down to things that happened in past romantic scenarios. However, while this is occurring, the Sun is going to connect with Chiron harmoniously. An energy like this can help us bounce back from gloomy moments and find ways to boost our confidence healthily. Then through all of these combinations, the Sun and Venus are going to make a sextile, while Venus is making a trine to Uranus. This can help us realize that we deserve better in our romantic relationships and career, and that it's time to do things that help us make progress in these areas of our lives. However, when we get to the 8th, the Sun is going to connect with Uranus in an alignment that's not so harmonious. This is definitely why we are seeing some edge to the air. So by the time we get to Wednesday, we may be dealing with situations where people are doing things for shock value, just to gain a sense of self, to gain some sort of self-assurance. And due to the hyperness of this energy, we may feel more jittery than normal. We may feel more restless than typical. And with tireless energy like this, it could lead to some odd interactions with others, where one moment we might be dealing with someone who's edgy, or someone who's coming off or reacting in an unexpected manner, or handling things in an eccentric or off-colored sort of way. And another thing we'll have to be aware of is not giving people the reaction that they're expecting. In other words, we may be dealing with people who are trying to get a rise out of us in order to make themselves feel good about themselves. So there are some interesting energies going on and interchanging between the Sun, Venus, Uranus, and the Chiron stuff. Some are harmonious and some are not. So it is going to be mixed bag energy, causing our emotions to fluctuate throughout those bunch of days. But around that time, we're also going to get an alignment from Jupiter and Saturn. Jupiter and Saturn will be in a sextile with one another, which can put us in the mood to seek out opportunities that guarantee success for us. The last time we saw this alignment was on June 19th of 2023, before both planets went into retrograde. Saturn went into retrograde first, and then Jupiter followed towards the beginning of September or so. And so while these planets are in their post-shadow, we're getting this alignment once more. Prior to that, this transit hadn't happened since August 27th of 2017. But since this is a post-shadow situation that we have from 2023, the summer of 2023, we might be reviewing some of the goals that we want to pursue. And through this, we could be in a place where we're finding concrete ways to realize these goals. This is the kind of alignment that helps us take the right type of action on the things that are meant for us. That way we're not wasting time on goals that aren't aligned with our spirit. Another cool thing about this is, rather than being in a daydreamy place about something that we want to achieve, the Saturn portion of this helps us solidify what it is that we may have been hoping for all this time. And even though we may not get immediate gratification from this energy, we end up doing something that creates long-lasting results for ourselves. So we put in the hard work and effort to ensure that we have success on whatever it is we're trying to aim for. Also, a vibe like this is excellent for getting back on track if we've been out of alignment for a while. And for this reason, we may find ourselves motivated to get on the right track so we can get into a solid place once again. And one of the cool things that's happening around this time on the 8th, Mars is going to make a sextile with Neptune, which is really going to help us take action on something we might have been fantasizing about. So coupled with this Saturnian energy, this Jupiter sextile Saturn situation, we could find ourselves implementing an action plan for something that we hoped for. Because energetically, this pairing gives us the endurance needed to take the action that we need on our objectives. So they're no longer just a fantasy. They're no longer just a whim. They're no longer just a wish in our dreams. So this could be a period where we find a strategy that's going to help us turn our goals into a reality. And another cool thing about this Mars sextile Neptune situation, it promotes romantic energy. So there's going to be an overtone of flirtiness in the air. Through this, we can experience passionate exchanges, bedroom intensity, taking action to strengthen your bond with somebody that you're with, and connecting on a spiritual level, connecting on a soul level with someone. And speaking of spiritual level stuff, this also helps us in terms of taking action on our metaphysical pursuits. So if we had some sort of spiritual objective that we wanted to really make a reality, this may be a time to do so. Whether that's getting back on track with your spiritual goals or beginning a new spiritual era in your life. Considering that Jupiter and Saturn are slower moving planets and so are Mars and Neptune, we'll be feeling these energies for a bunch of days. And we're definitely going to need that because when we get to the 9th, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn are going to all interconnect in a way that's a little unconstructive. And by a little, a lot. So here's the problem with this. Around that point in time, we'll still be feeling that Sun square Uranus situation. We're still fresh off of that situation. So the energies can feel quite erratic. Then you've got Mercury making a semi-sextile with Saturn. You have Venus making a semi-square with Saturn. And then you have Mercury making a square with Jupiter. So all of those unconstructive energies combined can feel really contradictory. Because on one hand, with the Saturn stuff, we may be restricting ourselves. And with the Mercury square Jupiter situation, we might be going balls to the wall. We may be busting at the seams. With both Mercury and Venus connecting to Saturn in a problematic alignment, it could lead to feelings of wanting to distance ourselves from people. Because with the Mercury connection, we might feel a sense of dread, leading to shutting down and not wanting to be open communication-wise. With the Venus situation, we may be in a place where we feel depleted in romantic situations. Of course, this type of stuff is coming up so we can address it and resolve these things. At the same time, they just don't feel good. Contrasting that is the Mercury-Jupiter situation. Once we get to Saturday, we'll be feeling that one more potently. Now, even though this is a hard alignment, it still brings in an upbeat tone compared to that Saturnian stuff. So I will say that this is the better of the two that we're having, because on a positive note, this promotes socializing and wanting to do things with a sense of humor, wanting to take an upbeat approach to life. However, in this energy, people tend to exaggerate, act arrogantly, blow things out of proportion, and overdo feel-good things. So even though this brings in a more fun tone, we might have to check ourselves if we're spinning out of control with this Jupiterian energy connecting to Mercury. So yeah, we have a colorful week ahead. It is absolutely mixed baggy as all hell. So do the best you can to stay grounded and get back on track with the things that you may have gotten stagnant on, especially with all this Aquarius energy. We might start feeling like we're able to make progress or feel motivated and encouraged to make progress in our scale situations. Anyway, I hope you all have the best week ever. Later, and see you in the next episode.